Across Americas and around the world, coming to you from the beautiful White Mountains of Arizona. You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the discoveries that we made on our recent trip. And how about that? If you're wondering what's going on here, Carolyn wasn't getting any sound through her headphones, and that sort of threw me off for a minute until I found out what the problem was. I'm going to be talking tonight about what we found on our trip to the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. And ladies and gentlemen, I think you're going to find this just absolutely incredible. In fact, you may not believe what you're going to hear, because quite frankly, when I was standing there looking at it, I can tell you I did not believe what I saw. Driving across the desert of Nevada, approaching from the Boulder City highway, looming off in the distance is an incredible sight. If you did not absolutely know where you were at, you would tend to believe that you were delirious and had somehow been transported to the desert of Egypt. Rising up above the city of Las Vegas is a black, reflecting, huge pyramid, easily as big as the Great Pyramid of Cheops in Egypt. On the top of this pyramid is a crystal capstone, or what appears or looks like crystal capstone, reflecting the sunlight in every direction. If you've ever looked at a polished piece of black obsidian volcanic glass, that might give you some idea of what the surface of this pyramid looks like. As you travel closer along the highway, you begin to see looming up in front of the pyramid an exact replica of the Sphinx. And in front of the Sphinx, towering approximately 150 feet in the air, the Phallus of Osiris, an obelisk, for those of you who have not followed our series on the mysteries. And if you don't know what an obelisk is, I'm sure you're acquainted with the Washington Monument. The sight is absolutely awe-inspiring. The sheer size of this structure is overwhelming. It covers an area so large that driving around it, one begins to wonder how in the world this could have ever been built, much less built in the short period of time. That it was, in fact, assembled. During the time that the Luxor Hotel was under construction, a huge fence surrounded the area. They had armed guards on patrol. No one was allowed to watch the construction or see what was going on, except that part which loomed above the fence. No visitors were allowed, to watch the construction, and no press was given access. When we first drove to the Luxor, went around this huge, tremendous complex upon which this hotel sits, and then finally went across the street, parked the car, put our press passes on the front of our garments, got out with our video cameras. I looked directly across the street and was confronted with the head of Tutankhamun, who then promptly winked at me. Everything about this ninth wonder of the world, for it truly is, I can assure you, leaves one with a sense of awe, a sense of disbelief, overwhelming beauty. It is, in fact, beautiful beyond description. What I'm trying to do here is convey to you what I saw, and there are not words enough to do it. Now, if you've listened to our series on Mystery Babylon, you know that the Egyptian pyramids were never tombs. They were not burial places or crypts for the bodies of kings or queens or anyone else. They were temples, great temples of the mystery religion, and they functioned for the purpose of initiation. I can assure you that the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas is a temple of initiation for the masses, the millions upon millions of people who visit that city each year. Probably billions. Not just from America, but primarily from America, but also from around the world. For every single bit of symbolism connected with the mysteries is built into this hotel. Beginning with the obelisk, which represents the generative force. The Sphinx, which is to remind mankind that he is, after all, only an animal, you can think, and therefore is always engaged in this constant battle between the animal and the intellect. And then the great temple of initiation, the pyramid. This one with capstone intact, crystalline in nature, representing, as the sun reflects and glints off of every faceted side of it, representing the all-seeing eye. To give you some idea of the size of this structure, inside the building on the ground floor, 9 Boeing 747s would fit comfortably with no crowding and no problem. 9 Boeing 747, and those are the huge passenger jets. 9. Inside the building there is an obelisk which begins at the lowest floor, which is below the ground floor actually. Begins on the lowest floor, comes up through the casino, onto the upper deck, and points directly at the center apex, the zenith of the pyramid, is another obelisk. It is an incredible sight, ladies and gentlemen. Everywhere you go, there are Egyptian hieroglyphics. scenes of all of the ancient gods. Remember, I told you all the old gods are returning. Boy, are they ever. The whole story of the Osirian cycle is unfolded. The Nile River is there, and in fact, the Nile River circumnavigates the entire lower level, and they have great Egyptian barges upon which people ride around the inside perimeter of this great pyramid. The rooms are all built into the outer walls. There are no rooms inside the walls. They are in the walls of the pyramid, and each floor is on a level that juts out above the floor below it, all the way up. The elevators are inclinators, and they travel up to the different floors. 4 elevators are inclinators, one at each corner of the pyramid. The space inside this building is awesome. It's overwhelming. As you travel up the escalator and walk down the steps into what appears to be a city within a pyramid, in the midst of which is this huge obelisk pointing toward the apex above. Lasers of different colors flash and cross the air in front and around and over you, everywhere you go. There are lights, and there are television sets every which way you turn, of every conceivable size, until you finally stand and you're looking up at the side of what appears to be a skyscraper inside this pyramid, on the side of which is a huge television screen. And it reminds you of George Orwell's 1984. That immediately comes to mind. For everywhere you look, there are eyes and television sets, just as what was described in 1984, or in Huxley's Brave New World. There is no doubt whatsoever that the people who built this resort hotel were not only well versed in the mysteries, but are experts in the mysteries. They understood everything. There is a 3-chapter episode consisting of 3 different rides or experiences, whatever you want to call it, called The Search for the Obelisk. And everywhere there are screens giving you little previews of these 3 different episodes or chapters. You need 3 different places to go to experience this over a period of time. And they are urging you to come join the quest. If you read my book and if you paid attention during the Mystery Series broadcasts of the Hour of the Time, you know that at the heart and soul of all of what's happening in the world is the order of the quest. Benjamin Franklin talked about the order of the quest. He, in all actuality, was a member of the Order of the Quest. He was also a Freemason. He was also the Grand Master of the Lodge of 9 Muses. Thomas Jefferson was a member of this Order of the Quest, as was George Washington, and just about every one of our forefathers. Come join the quest. It's all about the discovery, 12,000 feet below the desert, of an ancient ruin, of an ancient civilization, where they find levitating craft. Does that sound familiar? Any connection here with UFOs? Any connection with Hitler's belief that the Aryan race represented the survivors of a lost civilization, far advanced beyond what we are now? And that in this ruin, also this rings of the tails of the inner earth, in this ruin they supposedly found a crystal obelisk, which was stolen, by the way, by a Dr. Osiris, who now holds the key to the future of the earth and mankind. And everywhere you look are these plaques or emblems of the enlightened Society for Global Transformation. The Enlightened Society for Global Transformation. You can stop and get a burger and a Coke or a beer, or whatever you want, in fact, at the Millennium Cafe. I found it at first to be difficult to understand what was going on around me, and to, in fact, keep from bumping into people, because everyone was so preoccupied with looking up or looking behind them that we were all constantly bumping into each other. Men, women, children, didn't matter. Temples, emblems of the snake were everywhere. Now, on that first day, I very wisely retreated to get my wits about me. I took a little bit of information with me. Did not do any filming, except from across the street. We filmed the whole outside of the hotel, nothing inside at that point, because, to tell you the truth, we were a little overwhelmed and didn't quite know where to start. I wondered how in the world this had come about. I found out through asking questions that the hotel and the grounds, the complex, the Sphinx, the obelisk, everything had cost $400 million. Paid for in cash, not one penny was taken out in loan to build this hotel. Now, if you ever had dreams of going to Las Vegas to win your fortune, I would suggest you take those dreams, put them in an iron box, lock them up, and throw them in the deepest river that you can find. For that $400 million, ladies and gentlemen, represents only the Luxor Hotel, and it came out of the pockets of all of the visitors to Las Vegas who had visited these hotel casinos: the Circus Circus Hotel Casino, the Excalibur Hotel Casino, the Slots Fun Casino and Silver City Casino, the Circus Circus Hotel Casino in Reno, Nevada, the Colorado Bell Hotel Casino in Laughlin, and the Edgewater Hotel Casino in Laughlin. For it is the group that owns this conglomerate of hotels that built the Luxor. And it became no surprise to me to find out that it was Circus Circus, which had also built the Excalibur Hotel. If you listen to our series on the mysteries, you know that the Roman circus was built to take the attention of the people away from the emperor, to give them the games to quench their thirst for blood and excitement so that when they went home at night, they were exhausted and didn't feel like rebelling. And it served the emperor well for hundreds of years. So they built the Circus Hotel in Las Vegas. And then they built the Slots of Fun Casino, the Circus Hotel Casino in Reno, the Colorado Bell Hotel Casino in Laughlin, the Edgewater Hotel Casino in Laughlin, and then they went back to their theme and built the Excalibur Hotel in Las Vegas, which has to do all about the legend of King Arthur and the search for the Holy Grail. Another quest. The Holy Grail and the mysteries has nothing to do with the cup that Jesus drank out of at the Last Supper. The Holy Grail and the mysteries, in fact, represents the bloodline of the house of David. Those believed by the mysteries to have the divine right to rule. I've said this many, many times before. I will say it again. Whoever rules the world in the New World Order will lay claim to the ancestry of the house of David. And then the Luxor, the ultimate temple of initiation that has ever been built throughout history. The shows that you go to in this hotel are beyond description, and you'll have to wait until you can get a chance to visit the Luxor, and I advise you all to do it. You will see verification in front of you everywhere you turn of everything that I've ever told you on this broadcast about the mystery religion of Babylon. It's all there. Nothing has been left out. As you go from show to show, you are indoctrinated slowly into the mysteries. You are told that if mankind does not change now, that the future will be bleak, if not non-existent, for mankind upon this earth. Everywhere you hear the phrase repeated, now is the time, now is the time, now is the time. The same phrase that kicked off the French Revolution and the Bolshevik Revolution is now being heard in America. In the great quest, this search for the crystal obelisk in these shows is really symbolically the search for God, for the obelisk represents the generative force, the force of creation. It makes things happen, gets things done. And what you ultimately discover, and by the way, the discovery, as far as I could see, was only made by a few, is that there is no God. Man is God. That's the theme, and that's what you learn if you're paying attention. Most people that I saw were completely baffled. They had no idea what they were going through and couldn't even figure out the story. And that was amazing. It's amazing, it's entertaining, and it's very, very sad to watch sheeple trying to deal with this great esoteric religion that's all around them and not understanding one single piece of it. I saw it everywhere I went. People would come out of the first episode scratching their head and looking around and wondering what it was all about, what happened here, what, it was a fun ride. And I got to tell you, folks, the ride on that first episode, well, I can't describe it. I will tell you this. If you've never been on a ride like it in your life, I can guarantee you that. It is virtual reality. And by the way, they have a virtual land there where you can pilot an F-14 Tomcat if you want. And I mean, when it goes up, you go up. If you do a flip, if it does a flip, you do a flip. And you're in that cockpit. And you take off, and you land, or you crash, or you go straight up until you stall and fall back down to the earth. This is an incredible place. Now, when I did the episode explaining the meaning of the movie 2001, and that's why I used that music again in this program to remind you all of that. When I explained to you the meaning of 2001, in that movie there was an obelisk, a monolith, a stone, black, remember? Smooth, shiny, everything was reflected in it. And remember when the astronaut went out to investigate it, he couldn't find an opening, and finally he pulled up a piece of it, looked inside, and there was another universe. Well, I got news for you, folks. That stone makes up, on the inside, a huge monolith. Just like in the movie 2001, perfectly polished, as black could ever possibly be in your wildest, darkest nightmares. And it reflects everything that goes on. All of the lights and the laser beams that are flashing through the air are all reflected in this shiny, polished, smooth black stone. It resembles the stone in the meditation room of the United Nations. You really must go and see this, folks. It is a necessity for your education. If you can't go, we filmed it all. It's probably some of the most wonderful, beautiful, fantastic footage that I've ever taken. And we're in the process of assembling a video which you will be able to obtain from us, and I'll tell you how to do that later in the program. In the meantime, if you'd like to call and make your reservations, the number is 1-800-777-0407. That's 1-800-777-0407. Don't go away. I'll be right back. What you're hearing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is the indoctrination of the masses, the sheeple, into the exoteric meaning, not the esoteric, mind you. Only those of us who have been studying that for many years really understand what we're looking at. But the public is being prepared for the new world religion. Make no mistake about that. I was on the phone with Craig Smith this morning, called to find out how the trip was. And we discussed this at some length. And he was amazed, and I felt myself, and I don't feel this too often, folks, totally inadequate to explain to him what is happening there. And we all must prepare for what's coming, for what is coming. For many of us is not going to be good. Many people will embrace the New World Order and the New World religion. They will not have to think anymore. They will not have to be responsible. Of course, they will have no freedoms. But Daddy will take care of them. Their every need will be furnished as long as they do what they're told, when they're told, how they're told, and worship the God that they're told to worship. Those people will be happy, but many of us will not be happy under those circumstances, and we need to prepare ourselves for the hardships, economic trauma that is coming. And as sure as I'm speaking to you tonight, it is coming. A visit to the Luxor Hotel will bring this home to you quicker than anything that I can think of. And when you see the Excalibur right next door, and down the street, the Circus, all built by the same people, and all right out of the control mechanism of the ancient mystery religions of Babylon. You need to prepare, folks. You know, people kept asking us to try to get some way where they could lay up a 1 or 2 year stock of food so that when things got tough, and if you don't believe that they will, Nintendo just moved its Seattle plant to Mexico. Remember I told you this was going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. They laid off 137 people, but that's just one of the first of many who will be doing this. We went out and contracted, negotiated, looked, finally found this food storage company that would give us a tremendous price break so that we could pass it on to you. We let you know about it. Many of you sent in requests for the information. We sent it to you. Not one person is taking advantage of it. So we're going to let it go. And you're going to have to pay retail for this stuff. Now, there's something besides food that you have to do, and many of you have been taking advantage of that. I don't know why this is, but more people in this country care more about their pocketbook than they do about the Constitution or the Bill of Rights that gave them the opportunity and the privilege, the right, not privilege, but right, to make the money and accumulate the assets, to have a pocketbook, to have a bank account, to have the things that they have. They're always most concerned about that. And to an extent, rightly so. The priorities must come in this manner, ladies and gentlemen. I said it in my book. Number one, I am dedicated to God. Number one, first and foremost, above anything and everything else. Number two, to the Constitution and Bill of Rights. And number three, to my family and loved ones. And people look at me and tell me I'm crazy. Well, I tell you, that's the only thing that makes sense. Without God, we have nothing. Without the Constitution and Bill of Rights, we will be slaves. And family and loved ones won't make much difference. So God must come first, Constitution and Bill of Rights must come second, and the family and loved ones must come third. You take care of God and the Constitution, and your family will be okay. But we haven't done that, so we're going to be experiencing some very, very bad times in the near future. So most of you need to now call Swiss America Trading and talk to them about how you can save at least some of what you have so that you can provide for yourself and your family during the upcoming economic traumas. Call 1-800-289-2646 and do that now. Don't do what you did with the food. We worked really hard to get a contract with a food storage provider, Ready Reserve Foods. We got steeper discounts than they've ever given anyone, and steeper than any other food storage company would give. And we passed that on to you, and nobody took advantage of it. Don't pass up the opportunities that Swiss America Trading has available for you. Don't do that. folks. For when everything crashes down around your ears, the paper money you have in your pocket will be meaningless, will be worth nothing. You will not be able to find anything that you can trade for a loaf of bread, unless it's your house, your car, if you still have one. You see, whatever you have is what it's going to cost you. Prepare. Call 1-800-289-2646. Do it right now. Don't wait until tomorrow. You know how you are, and so do I. When you go down to the lower level, the murals of Egyptian life cover the entire walls of this stairwell, which also, by the way, has escalators. It goes down to the base of the obelisk, which goes up through several floors and then up into the center of this great pyramid and points directly to the apex. At one point I was watching the laser light show when all of a sudden a small port opened in the apex of the pyramid and a pure shaft of light connected with the tip of the obelisk. And a chill went right up my spine and the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I felt this terrible fear in my belly, knowing that these people are not playing games. I was even more taken aback when all those standing around who had witnessed this laughed and giggled and pointed and thought this was just another wonderful part of the entertainment, having no conception of what they were witnessing. Luxor, by the way, means the source of light. When I went down into the very lowest level, there is a shop there called The Source, with all kinds of Egyptian paraphernalia, books on the translation of the different hieroglyphics and papyrus that have been found throughout Egypt, on the monuments and the tombs, on the pyramids. The translations of the different stelae, including the Metternich stele, which the stele group is named after. Next to that is a museum. There's a complete reproduction of Tutankhamun's tomb. Then I began to see these photographs of dancing girls and men in chariots. And these were photographs. These were not paintings or prints. These were photographs. And then I saw double doors above which the words theater was displayed. Again, pinned on my press pass, went through those doors and down in the bowels of this huge, gigantic pyramid was a recreation of the Roman circus. And at night they have huge pageants. The one that's advertised is called the Winds of the Gods. The Winds of the Gods. And at one point, the wall of this huge, tremendous circus, in which you could place a football field, opens up, and they create the Nile River running through this auditorium. Everywhere there are people who will answer your questions, and if you take the boat ride on the tour of the Nile, you will see recreations of all the great monoliths of Egypt, and they will tell you the story of the Osirian cycle, of Nut and her children, Isis and Nephthys, Osiris and Set. And at one point you will see the guardian of the secrets of the universe displayed upon the wall. If you don't look up high, you won't see it. The only other place you see it is in the first episode of The Search for the Obelisk. This creature has the exact same facial characteristics and the exact same eyes as the supposedly alien creature on the cover of Whitley Strieber's book, Communion. I told you actually years ago when I first began my lecture tours, and all during these radio broadcasts, that all of these things are tied together. They are linked, just as your toe is linked to your head. You may look at your toe and say, that's a toe, it has nothing to do with my head, until you try to cut it off, and then you will find very quickly that it has everything to do with your head. You cannot separate the UFO phenomenon or the stories about aliens visiting the earth from the New World Order or from the mystery religions or from Las Vegas any more than you can separate your toe from your head without understanding at that point that you made a big mistake. In the Luxor, you can see all of this come together. It comes together very well. You might want to go out and get the latest issue of Time magazine, the January 10th, 1994 issue of Time magazine. That's the January 10th, 1994 issue of Time magazine. On the cover, you will see what I'm talking about. Now, one of the things that I noticed inside the Luxor Hotel is that this could be the city of the future. People could live, work, eat, sleep, be entertained, be born and die, all within that pyramid. All within that pyramid. Something else was going on, ladies and gentlemen, that was insidious in nature. Remember, I told you this is a temple of initiation into the New World religion, the New Age religion, into the brave New World, as Aldous Huxley would have called it, and did call it in his book. It came a decade late for George Orwell, but nevertheless it is the same. People are herded like cattle through these things that they pay to see. They're treated like stupid sheeple. And something else occurs that was so significant, I looked around me and could not believe that no one there but me understood what was happening. You go down to the lower level to a counter there and you buy your ticket for these things. And everything has to have this ticket. You are told to hold the ticket in your right hand. It has the UPC on the ticket. You're told not to hold it in your left hand. You must hold it in your right hand, with the UPC facing outward from your hand. Every time you go into one of these events, one of these rides on the Nile River ride, or the 3 episodes, or anything, there's a scanner under which you are told to pass your hand, and it reads the UPC code on the ticket. There is an attendant standing there. They will not take your ticket and pass it under the scanner for you. You are to do that. It is a form of indoctrination, getting you used to passing your hand under a scanner to get something in return. It is a Pavlovian conditioning. You do it enough, you think nothing of it. And eventually that ticket will disappear, and whatever is being scanned will be in your hand. You see, even when you have trouble and you're not holding the ticket right, they tell you to pass it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, try it again. Only when it becomes obvious that people behind are getting very upset with you holding up the line will the attendant take the ticket and pass it under the scanner for you. For this is a form of conditioning. You cannot be conditioned if they do it for you. Everything in the Luxor Hotel is an indication of what is to come. Everything. I went into the casino on this day. Forgot to tell you I was filmed everything, wore my press pass, and went everywhere. Anywhere I wanted to go, I was treated courteously. People opened doors for me. People offered to set up props for me. In the casino, around the center where the obelisk goes up through the ceiling, there are all the reproductions of the beautiful golden mummy cases and the masks, the death masks. I turned around and saw two obelisks on each side of a small stairway and a jackal. And then the door in front, which looked like a tomb, was actually an elevator that goes up one floor into the Isis restaurant. So I went up there. It was too dark to videotape up there, but I took still pictures, and they will be in the videotape. We will videotape the still pictures. It is one of the most beautiful foyers that I've ever seen, with ancient Egyptian art, pieces of jewelry in glass cases. On each side of the entryway into the actual restaurant are these huge stone reproductions of Egyptian gods. There are brass, they look like gold, and they may be gold-leafed. Snake heads on the ends of all the furniture. Cobra. Inside, in a glass case with a beam of light shining directly down on it, is a statue of Isis in all her glory. It is ornate, dripping with wealth and affluence. Everything, dear listeners, is designed to take you out of yourself and, surrounded by all of this symbolism, indoctrinate you into the New World Order. And you're so astounded and awed by the beauty of all of this that you fail to see the methods of control and the terrible religion and the God that you will be asked to bow to. I'm a true constitutionalist. If you really wanted to bow to that God, I would fight for your right to do it, whether I approved or not. For I came to understand many years ago that if I denied you the right to practice your religion, you could also deny me the right to practice mine. I have no qualms with people practicing the religion they wish to practice. The problem I have is being lied to and deceived and manipulated into doing things and believing things and accepting the loss of freedoms and sovereignty through deception and lies and cunning wit, for the most part being enacted upon an unsuspecting, trusting people. That I despise. And I know that whatever new order or new world they create through these types of procedures will not be the utopia that they promise that it will be, will not be a wonderful world free from crime. No, ladies and gentlemen, it will just be another mountain of lies built upon the last mountain of lies. And someday, somewhere, someone is going to expose the original lie upon which all of this was built, and the whole structure will come tumbling down. I hope that the hour of the time is functioning in some way toward that end. Only you know the answer to that. I am constantly amazed that all of this is flaunted in front of the people. You see, it's all out in the open now for anyone who cares to look. And from our research, we found that it's never really been hidden during this century. Of course, the manipulations are built upon masterful lies. But if you want to do the research and look, you can always find the truth behind the lie because it's not hidden. The way that they've been able to get away with all of these things is very simply, they believe, and in most instances they're right, that most people don't want to think for themselves and will never look. Therefore, they don't even hide anything. That's a shame. It is, in fact, an indictment of all of the American people and the people of the world. It's always been my hope to be able to wake the sheeple so that they become real people whom we can then empower to save the penultimate achievement of all of mankind, and that is the document that for the first time in the history of the world truly set man free. Gave him the greatest opportunity and created the greatest civilization, the greatest nation that's ever existed upon the face of this earth. And now everyone is willing to flush it down the toilet, literally, and step back into slavery. Why? At night, the Luxor lives up to its name and is truly the source of light. As darkness falls, and they turn on the mechanism at the apex of the pyramid, the brightest light I have ever seen in my life, or that anyone on this earth has ever seen besides the sun, shines up through the center of the crystalline capstone, and a pure white beam of light, a shaft of light, reaches up into space, and it is one of only two natural man-made structures that can be seen from space. One is the Great Wall of China, and the other is the Luxor Light. On a clear night with a dust-free atmosphere, the light can be seen as far away as Los Angeles and Phoenix, Arizona. It is truly awe-inspiring. Photographs of it are awe-inspiring. Never mind being there in person, just looking at a photograph of it will take your breath away as you realize that the light is so strong that on a clear night in clear air with no dust and no smog and no smoke, you can still see the beam of light as if it's a column, a translucent column reaching far out into space. Good night, and God bless you all. If in the eyes of the great worldwide brotherhood now is the time, then this is the hour of the time. I'm William Cooper.
And I'm Carolyn Nelson.
And we're going to go right straight to Phoenix right off the bat because you haven't had a medal report in some time. Gene Miller, are you there? Well, thank you, Gene, once again for a wonderful report on what's happening in precious metals, and be here again next Monday.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Welcome back once again.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Folks, if you're wondering what happened there, we had a little power outage, and for a few seconds we didn't know whether we were on the air or not, and we are, so we'll continue. Make sure you have pad and pencil by you, and don't you dare move. One of the first things that visitors to Las Vegas, Nevada see today is one of the strangest sights and one of the most unusual sights that you would ever expect to see in the United States of America. It is a huge, and I mean huge, pyramid. It's not made out of stone. It's made out of concrete and steel. The outside is covered with a black glass. It looks very much like a huge, polished obsidian stone capped with a crystal capstone. When the sun's rays strike the capstone at particular angles, it sparkles and throws out rays of light like a diamond. In front of this huge pyramid is an exact replica of the Sphinx. And in front of that is the ages-old symbol of what began in the legends of the death of Nimrod and proceeded into Egypt in the Osirian cycle, and represents the golden penis that Isis substituted upon the throne of her lover, husband, brother, after he had been murdered by Set, or Typhon, as some call him, chopped into 15 pieces and scattered over the land. She found 14, but could not find the last, the Phallus, the generative force, that which is the creative power, God, if you will. So she fashioned a golden phallus and substituted that on the throne, or on the altar of Egypt, in the place of the slain Osiris. It stands in the outer courtyard of the Vatican within the circle of the Temple of the Sun. It stands in ancient Egypt. It stands in London and on the grounds of Sion House in Great Britain. It stands in Central Park, in Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas, and in Washington, D.C., and is known there as the Washington Monument. I'm speaking of the obelisk. During the vacation days, my wife and I and Pooh went to Las Vegas to film the Luxor Hotel. Luxor means the source of light. And I tell you now that in a literal sense, it is the source of many different lights, depending upon what kind of light you are searching for. If you understand the symbology, you could become illumined while there. If you don't understand the symbology, you could continue worshiping at a stone altar, which can neither hear nor speak, nor grant the subject of your prayers. At night, through the crystal capstone, the brightest light on earth shines directly up into space, and it is so bright that even on a clear night, with no dust or particles or smog in the air, it appears to be a solid, translucent column of light. It is awesome. It is awesome. The lights shining through the black glass of the facade of the pyramid give the impression of 1,000 points of light coming from the night sky beneath the illumined capstone. It is one of only two man-made objects which can be seen from space. One is the Great Wall of China, the other is the Luxor Light. It is, in fact, a temple of initiation for all of the billions of people who visit Las Vegas, Nevada each year, in many more ways than one. People are being indoctrinated into the ways of the New World Order and the New Age religion. It is a fact. It is not conjecture. We have documented it. We have the most astounding, most beautiful video footage that I have ever taken. We will be making that available to you for those of you who want to order it in advance of the completion of assembling the tape. It will be $30 post-paid for non-CAGI members and $25 post-paid for CAGI members. The tape will be 1 hour in length. If you can, I encourage you to visit Las Vegas and visit the Luxor Hotel. If you are interested in the history of the Illuminati and the future of the world, you will get quite an education while you are there. If you are sheeple, you will have a good time. You will wonder at the magnitude and the colossal construction and the great expanse of space inside, where you could, in fact, park 9 Boeing 747s side by side without any crowding whatsoever. You would think, gee, this is nice, a $400 million playground. In fact, folks, it is a temple of initiation for an ancient religion to prepare the masses for what is to come. Now, since I've covered almost everything that we saw in Las Vegas earlier, in the early program, which airs at 5 Pacific, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm not going to repeat all of that in this program. Those of you who did not catch that program, I encourage you to order the tape. Either the tape of the earlier broadcast tonight or the videotape. The videotape will be tape number 33 in the Mystery Babylon series. I think that when you see this tape, you will agree with me that it is the best that we could possibly provide for the mystical number 33. I'm going to open the phones now, folks, and we'll talk about this. And I think we've got somebody on the line right now. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hello, Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
I'm out here in California, and the last show I caught you on was just before Christmas. Since that time, WWCR lost the frequency, and I've been unable to tune you in. What frequency are you on tonight?
WWCR has not lost the frequency, and we're on the same frequency, 5.810. And we've been broadcasting twice a night, every night.
And, okay, and you're still on at 9 p.m. Pacific time?
That's correct.
5.810.
That's right, the same frequency.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Good night. Carolyn, you saw the video footage that we took. Would you like to describe it for our listeners?
Well, If you remember, I was totally silent throughout the watching of the videotape. It is just awesome. You don't really know what to say. It so happens that I had a good course in history about Egypt when I was in the 8th grade, and it all just comes right back to light when you see it there on the video. If you understand the symbology, you realize just what the world, what our country is moving into, and it may be beautiful, but there's a total feeling of horror that engulfs you.
It is a beautiful hotel. There's no doubt about that.
Just gorgeous.
$400 million paid for in cash. It is, well, I'm not surprised by hardly anything. Nothing shocks me. Nothing surprised me. I'm not in awe of hardly anything ever. And I was dumbstruck by this. Outside, inside, everything was just absolutely incredible. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hello. This is Bill calling from Louisiana. I was wondering how that compares to the Memphis Pyramid that was built.
The Memphis Pyramid is nothing compared to this. In fact, after you see the Luxor Hotel, you'll never look at the Memphis Pyramid again in your life.
Oh, okay. All right, I was just wondering about size or anything like that.
It is the most incredibly huge, most beautiful, most well-constructed, most awe-inspiring site that I have ever seen. It's truly the 8th wonder of the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Number 602-333-2174, if you've never called before and would like to know the number, 602-333-2174. I'm going to repeat it one more time, 602-333-2174. If you have trouble getting on, just keep hitting your redial button. We sometimes have an awful lot of callers, but eventually you'll get through. Good evening, you're on the air.
I sure appreciate it. My name is Herb, and I'm calling from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And what I was wondering is, what is some of the latest analysis that you have on the operations with all the black international gear and FinCEN and those areas? Have you heard of anything significant lately?
Well, number one, we haven't identified anything black as being international. Everything we've identified belongs to United States organizations or agencies. Some of the secret intelligence organizations or Department of Defense, some of not so secret origin, but all the United States. And no, we don't know anything more than what we've already reported on the air.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling. Number once again, 602-333-2174. And I'm going to let you know, folks, some of the other, well, the conglomerate that built the Las Vegas Luxor Hotel, Luxor means the source of light, by the way, is the Circus organization. They own Circus Hotel Casino in Las Vegas, the Excalibur Hotel Casino in Las Vegas. Both of those, by the way, have mystical significance. The Circus was used, or the Roman circus was used by the Roman emperors to keep the public pacified so that they would not rebel against the emperor. The Excalibur, of course, is all about the Grail legend of the Knights of the Round Table, which, by the way, has nothing to do with the cup that Jesus drank out of at the Last Supper, but represents, in fact, the bloodline of the family which the Mysteries believe has the divine right to rule. They also own Slots of Fun Casino and Silver City Casino in Las Vegas. In Reno, they own Circus Hotel Casino, and in Laughlin, the Colorado Bell Hotel Casino and the Edgewater Hotel Casino. If you think that you're going to get rich going to Las Vegas and playing or gambling, you're wrong, because the $400 million cash that built the Luxor Hotel was paid for by all of you who go and gamble at the hotels that I just read you the names of. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm calling from New York.
I had heard today on the news something that I had heard on one of your programs earlier about the 2010 Space Odyssey deal with the satellite going around Jupiter. And on the news today, I heard that by this July, they expect astronomers to be able to witness the first time a comet would ever hit the planet Jupiter.
Very convenient, don't you think?
Yes. As far as I knew, though, that was supposed to happen around the year 2000 with the satellite, with the plutonium, is it?
Well, that's what we were going by the schedule that NASA gave us. They can change that schedule anytime they want.
That craft out there already, or?
Well, supposedly it's not supposed to be there until 1995. But we have no idea how fast it's really going. We have to rely upon what they tell us. Not only that, but they could just be preparing the public for this, and maybe nothing is going to happen when this supposed comet hits Jupiter. But it would lay the groundwork for a good explanation at a later time.
I could share with you, Bill, that when I was in Texas, there was an article in one of the local papers about this comet that was supposed to land near or on Jupiter next summer. No,
not land, collide.
Collide, right. And the article itself said that it might not. It might land on the backside and we'd only see flares. It managed to get across a dozen ideas in one little article, and I think Bill was right that it was preparing us for something that could happen soon or by the year 2000.
Are you there?
I'm a amateur astronomer with the AAVSO, and Jupiter is just short of being a star.
That's correct.
If this was to happen, of course, like they said on the news today, it could create an atomic explosion. It's composed mostly of hydrogen. Fit the bill quite well.
Yes, very much so. You're an amateur, started to say animal astronomer, I'm sorry. Amateur astronomer. Have you ever really taken some time to observe the moon for long periods of time?
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact.
Have you ever witnessed any of the reported transient phenomena, as they call it?
Transient phenomena?
Yeah.
Explain what you're...
shadows that appear and disappear, or strange lights in craters. These things have been reported for many years by amateur astronomers. Professional astronomers ignore it.
Oh, yes, I had heard about that. No, I've never really seen anything like that. I have seen some strange phenomena, mainly looking towards the constellation Lyra, which would be in the summertime directly above your zenith. To me, I don't know, as far as looking at the moon, it looks pretty desolate, and I've never seen any sign of any lights. I've heard about that, though.
Wait a minute. How can you say you've seen some strange transient phenomena looking toward the constellation, was it Libra, you said?
No, Lyra.
Lyra, and not tell us what it was? I mean, you just left me hanging there like I got my fingernails dug in on the edge of a cliff.
Well, I don't want to foster any belief in UFO, but to me...
well, just because you saw something doesn't automatically mean it's UFO.
No, but it was unidentified as far as I was concerned. Whatever it was, it looked mostly like it was composed of light. Perhaps, I don't want to say disc-shaped, but it was oval. And at times it would stop and appear to be a star and then whisk away at 90-degree angles. And to me, I just attributed that to whatever aurora phenomena they're trying to pull off or whatever.
Well, it could be. It could be some high atmospheric phenomena. Who knows? Nobody really knows. But it's interesting. It intrigues me to no end. Thank you for calling.
Very good.
602-333-2174. Folks, by the way, make sure you get the January 10th, 1994 issue of Time magazine, and you will begin to get a hint of what I'm talking about, the Luxor. By the way, what seems to be a reflection on the left side of the cover of the Sphinx is not. In fact, it is the head of a cobra in human form, and you can tell that by just looking down beneath the chin. And what appears to be the beard of an Egyptian is really, as you will see if you go through the tour of the hotel, continues on down and becomes the body of a snake, which is the symbol of these people. and is the ancient symbol of wisdom and Lucifer and all of these different strange cultic things that we've been studying for many, many years and 32 hours on the hour of the time. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, made it through. I heard you talking about the Luxor. That is a nice hotel.
Have you been there?
I worked on it.
Oh, you worked on it?
I was one of the ones who was working on the construction of it.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
It is beautiful. I mean, it's just beyond description. I don't know the words in order to put it to it.
Do you remember the size of the base of the pyramid?
It's larger than the pyramid in Egypt. The large one there.
Yeah, well, I was aware of that. You could just look at it and tell that. It covers so many acres that the size of this thing is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And on the outside, until you get up close to it, it kind of fools you. And then you get up close to it and you begin to realize how big it really is. And then you walk inside.
Were you able to see it when the sun was shining on it?
Yes.
Oh, man. If you're up on the expressway, you're passing by, you have to put your hand up because it's so bright with the sun shining off it.
Yeah, it is truly, in a literal sense, the source of light.
Yeah. Okay, now, what I called about was I've been listening to you over about the last 6 months, and you were talking about the mystery schools and about through the Masons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, about in 1980, I became really curious about what was making politics go. And so I started looking around, and I found a group that was...
You know what? We got to stop right here because we've got to take a break right now. There's nothing we can do about it. So just hold on, and we'll get right back to you.
Okay.
And we take you back to the Luxor and our friend who helped build this fantastic piece of architecture. You were about to tell us a story.
Okay. About, I was in 1980 or so, within 1980 or the last part of it, I became interested in politics, and so I started to look around. I found a group that was talking about the same stuff that you're talking about with the Trilateral Commission and the CFR and all the, and they laid it all out, but they didn't give me who was doing what to who exactly. So I started to look around a little bit, and I found the cult group. And I found it quite interesting, and I joined. And I didn't go in through the Mason level. I went in through the cult level into the Illuminati part of it, at least into about the first 5 or 6 levels of it. It was very interesting, and you're very correct in that I don't know about the Mason part of it, but for this other direction, it matches up almost identical with what you're talking about. And
well, let me correct you on one thing. It's not the Freemasons. It is the higher degrees of Freemasonry, and most, if not all, of the other secret societies. All of the ones, in fact, that have their membership organization in the shape of a pyramid, with a whole bunch of slathering idiots at the bottom thirsting after the secrets, and just a few at the top who really know what they are.
Well, it actually is a religion, and they operate in groups of 3. 2 people won't know who the third person is, and that's the way it is into each group that it goes into, a group of 3.
Yeah, it's the cell system. See, Joseph McCarthy was on the right track. He was just calling them by the wrong name. He called them communists, and the communists worked in the same cell system, but the communists are just another outpouring of this same mystery religion that's had the world in turmoil for thousands of years.
Well, the outcome, well, I know how to basically avoid them and what's coming, I hope.
Well, you were a fellow traveler.
Well, I stepped into the middle. There's 2 sides to the table of when the line starts, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to end up in one of the lines that goes into the chambers, because they got bad things planned for us out here, as you were calling us the eaters. They got bad plans for us. It's not
They call us the useless eaters.
Yeah, but their idea of what is actually going to come down is about maybe 5 or 10% of the world will actually control it that much.
Yes.
will actually have the controls. About another 20% will be allowed to work. You get a work card that will allow you to work, and then the rest of us will be given enough stipend in order to live and survive. Maybe. They don't really worry about that too much.
They don't worry about it at all, to tell you the truth.
That's pretty well true. But you were quoted something from Aleister Crowley of do what thou wilt under the whole of the law.
Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Right. But the last part of that is under the guidance of love. That's the Thelma.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, under will, under law.
Yeah, but it's under the love of under love. But anyway,
well, that's bullshit. That's a whole con. These people have no love. They are true sociopaths who have no conscience whatsoever.
But their idea of love is something else.
They have no conception of what love is. They operate from a pure point of what they call the intellect. If you allow emotions, this is their philosophy. If you allow emotion of any kind to interfere with your reasoning and with your reaching your goal, no matter what means you have to use to reach that goal, then you are not qualified to be a leader.
True, but you're not. You channel. They teach you to channel the emotion, but it's not really a good thing. It's not something. But see, they're not just doing this with action, with physically doing this stuff with action. They're doing this stuff when you're talking about a cult. A cult is quite real. I mean, just because you don't see the wind, don't mean they don't blow.
Well, I know that.
That they're operating on.
I know that. I have witnessed ritual magic. I have seen it work. I know how dangerous it is. And
that's the level they're working on, and that's how come people are going out into the world and doing screwy things, is because the energy is being put out in order to affect certain people. Well, hopefully, protected enough myself that I can at least survive out my time.
Yeah, well, I've heard that story before. Either get in and help us fight this stuff, or jump off a bridge. That's my philosophy. You're either for us or against us.
I went and bought a couple shares of good net. As soon as I can, I'll buy a couple more shares.
Good.
Good. I wanted to ask you if you were given any instruction when you were working on the Luxor to not talk about it. Did you have to keep things secret?
Well, you had to be extremely careful. About 20 people died building it.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stories about that. What happened?
Platforms would give away. You said something down and it would move. It was an odd building to build. And then the energy that was being channeled, the energy that's being channeled through that place is just unreal. You walk inside, and you were talking about the obelisk there. You can walk in there, and you get a charge just off from it. You look at it and go, wow, look at the energy coming off that thing.
Well, that's the feeling that you get. I can certainly vouch for that. I spoke to 3 different employees who were in various parts of the hotel. None of them knew who I was. All 3 said it was haunted.
It is.
Do you know by who? By what?
It's not just it's an energy channel. It's haunted by, I don't know whether it's haunted by the people that died on the project, but it's haunted. They say it's haunted, but what it is it's a doorway in between two parallel universes.
That's what I was trying to describe to the earlier audience when I said I saw this beam of light shoot up from the obelisk to the apex of the pyramid, and the chill went up my spine and the hair stood up on the back of my neck, and I knew that this was much, much more than anybody around me even understood, that this had to do with occult things that the average person could never understand.
Oh yeah. And there are chambers in there that nobody gets access to.
Well, I want to thank you for calling. We kept you on a lot longer than we normally keep a guest on, but you had some very interesting things to say, and I'm very happy you called.
I'll try to get back in a month or two.
Thank you. 602-333-2174. Boy, that was an interesting caller.
Very.
Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes. I'm glad I got to call you. I mean, I've been listening to you for like months and months, and I'm a teacher, and I tell my kids about you all the time.
Well, thank you.
And what I would like to ask you, are you saying that there's some kind of occult magic that these people have control of?
Yes, absolutely. At least they believe they do, and they sure made me believe it. The only time in my life I've ever had a chance to witness some of the things that they do.
Have you ever read the book by Prescott Nicholas?
No.
He's the one that said that they went into time back in the 40s.
Oh, you talking about Preston Nichols?
Yeah, Preston.
Yeah, I've read all of their books. If you look on the cover of his book, The Montauk Project, you'll discover the secret of Preston Nichols. See that Trojan horse staring at you on the cover? He's laughing at you. Everything in that book is a lie.
Okay.
I hate to tell you that, but it's true.
He is one of them.
Yeah. You keep people running around in circles chasing their own tail.
Okay, well, I'm really glad. Well, one more thing. You said something about...
Can you turn your radio off?
Okay, wait just a minute.
I knew there was something wrong. I kept playing here with the level, trying to get that out, and it's your radio.
Okay, did you say something about possibly it may be a parallel universe that this thing might be hooked into? Its placement?
I don't know, but scientists, even Stephen Hawking has theorized that there could be a parallel universe that somehow can sometimes interfere with this one or be hooked to this one. Or I don't really understand it, but some of the best minds have propounded that theory.
You know, it's really interesting how I tuned in and I caught you one night when you were talking about Atlantis, the lost continent. I've always been fascinated with the occult since I'm 43 now, since I was like 17, 18 years old. And I've read all these books, and something led me into hearing you, and now that I feel like I'm on to the real thing, it's really astounding me, you know what I mean, from my childhood up until now, reading these books, Jean Montgomery, that lady in Washington, D.C., Jean Dixon. I read all those books, you know.
If you want to read two of the best books on Atlantis, take all the rest of the ones you have and get rid of them. And go read Plato, and then read Atlantis by Francis Bacon.
By Francis Bacon?
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Then you'll be on the right track.
Okay. Have a good night then.
You too. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The number is 602-333-2174. This has been a very interesting evening with some very good calls and some good conversation here. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes. I just wanted to talk about the Luxor. I stayed there in October. And wanted to know if you had a chance to see the movie, the Osiris movie, about the obelisk.
In Search of the Obelisk, yes. I saw the whole thing.
And what's your opinion of that? I mean, the symbology that you saw in it.
It's an indoctrination, number one, into the mysteries through an exoteric play acting. The obelisk really represents God, and what you find out at the end of the movie is that man is God.
Right.
Man will determine his future, not God. And everything is in that hotel. Everything that they're propounding and trying to get across to us. And you'll notice that everywhere you looked was the Enlightened Society for Global Transformation.
Yeah, I saw the emblem and the T-shirts they had in their little gift shops and that.
Yeah, and whether you know it or not, it's a real society.
I've never seen it before until that time that I've been there. You know.
Get into New Age books and publications, and you'll find them real quick.
Interesting. About the energy levels that they talk about, a pyramid of creating energy levels at certain heights within it. Most of it's hollow down to the base, except for the theater and some of the other. Like for example, they have the skyline of New York or something like that. I thought that was a lot of wasted space. But
I thought it was impressive.
No, I mean, there's something inside that, but there's nothing. But nobody, as far as goes inside those.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know what's inside those. Neither do I.
exactly. I mean, that'd be an ideal place for some type of platform or something.
Personally, I think a lot more goes on there than just people staying at a hotel.
Very good. I just wanted to tell you, I stayed there, and it was very interesting. As far as, I had a funny feeling about it the whole time I was there. So.
How'd you feel, what did you get out of the search of the obelisk?
Well, I thought it was, definitely right along with the New Age movement, and as far as the, the secret societies and stuff. I mean, I'm pretty ignorant to it at this point, but I mean, it's from what I knew of it in generalities, I mean, it was saying that all the way through it. I mean, just with the going back in the past and into the future, and different realities or the different outcomes. I just thought, it wasn't exactly uplifting. It was kind of a sickening movie to me. I mean, it kind of let you kind of drain.
Most people didn't understand anything about it. I mean, they just went out of there with this vague feeling that they went on a carnival ride and didn't understand that they got a message at the same time.
It wasn't Disney World. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, very good, Miss.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
602-333-2174. Good evening, you're on the air.
Okay, let me turn it down, okay? Hold on.
Good. Please turn it down. That was a loud one.
When did the Luxor open? Do we have?
I'm not really sure.
True.
But it wasn't long ago.
Hey, that was only the second time I ever called you. Calling from Syracuse.
What can we do for you?
Great pleasure to talk to you. I've been listening to you for a long time, and I can't believe it took this long to finally, straighten me out on what's going on.
Well, most people, when they first hear this broadcast, they think that I'm a absolute raving lunatic and should be locked up immediately. But after they listen for a few programs, and especially if they go down to their library and try to prove it wrong, they do a quick turnaround.
Well, after 20 years, I finally got a library card, and I've looked up a couple of things, and you're right on.
Good.
Absolutely, and I do have that time with Alexa there, and the front page looks like it was almost doctored up or something.
Well, it was. The picture on the right is an actual photograph. That's exactly the way it looks. I mean, that's how beautiful and incredible it is. The left, where you see the head with the snake's body and the eyes gleaming like two stars.
Right.
That's a touch-up. That was put in there.
A Chinese friend of mine told me today that the Sphinx may have been damaged by water erosion. That was interesting. He talked about that today. And its origins may have gone back more than 10,000 years.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you get into the history of the pyramids and the Sphinx, there is so much that is not known about them. The only thing that we really know is that in the time of Plato, they were ancient. Right. And Plato was initiated in the Great Pyramid as he lay in the sarcophagus for 3 days and nights, during which he was imparted a secret knowledge that he was to guard and to use, but never to reveal. Pythagoras spent 20 years in Egypt trying to get the priests to initiate him before they finally did.
Fascinating. Did you figure out where your power outage was there this evening? Or?
No, we got strange stuff around here. We got GTE, and we got an old house, and
you thought you need diesel fuel.
When it rains, strange things happen, and with no reason at all. Sometimes power will just go off. And
sometimes the fax starts talking to you.
I hear you. Well, hey,
it's not haunted. It's just the strange electronics around here. It's old.
You guys bomb out on 5810, and I hope that WWCR does not move you. I heard they want to move their channel, but you're in a great spot right now.
Well, they just want to move us up to 5890.
I'll tell you what, that'll put you into the middle of that whole mess up there in 49 meters, but actually down here, you're in the clear,
Well, the problem is the Illuminati are very smart, you see, and they run most of the companies, and they make these radios that will not pick up these bands. They won't pick up the 41-meter band. They won't pick up this frequency down here, and any place where Christian broadcasts are being aired, or where people are airing
over there,
or where people are airing the truth. They won't put those bands on their radios.
Notice that, and by looking at radios that are around, I tell people if you really want to hear this stuff, get yourself an older radio, general coverage radio. then you'll pull it all in.
Yeah. Well, nowadays there's so many people broadcasting that you really have to have a digital synthesized tuning radio, or else you'll be just black. The other stations run right over you.
Okay. One quick question, and I'll have any update on the what's going on in Waco. I'll let you go.
Yeah, the only update that's going on in Waco is just exactly what I predicted. Nobody showed up down there except about maybe 24 people from the Fully Informed Jury Association, and
totally news blank.
And there's a news blank. Well, here's how the sheeple are. You got 100 reporters at the penis trial, and you got maybe 3 down in Waco. I'm down in San Antonio.
Since they have a trial.
Well, it's I don't think that this woman had anything to do with the Illuminati.
I mean, people can only focus on one trial at a time, so they might as well put this one in the focus.
No, it's the sheeple factor, my friend. People have penises running around in their heads, and they don't give a damn about the rights of that church in Waco, Texas.
Okay. Well, listen, have a good evening.
You too. Thank you for calling. And for those of you out there who swear that your ears are virgin, I did not mean to insult you with that language, but on this program we tell only the truth. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Bill. I wonder if you saw an article that was in today's paper picked up by the Cox News Service about Waco?
No, I don't believe I did.
Can I read 3 sentences to you?
Sure.
Okay, it says, calling for the appointment of a commission to review the policies and practices of all federal agencies, including law enforcement. A diverse group of political organizations from the ACLU to the NRA charged yesterday that the rapid growth of federal law enforcement agencies in the past 2 decades has produced widespread abuses of civil liberties and human rights. The request made in a letter to President Clinton was prompted in part by the tragedy that occurred last year when agents of the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms raided the Branch Davidian cult's armed compound near Waco. The groups alleged that the events in Waco are part of a pattern of abuses of authority by federal agents, including the improper use of force and the frequent use of unreliable informants.
Well, that's a surprise coming from the ACLU, who have been a pain in the ass, to tell you the truth. But that's good.
It's interesting to see something in this kind of a venue that I've never seen before. I'm 46 years old. I've been following this stuff, including your research, for a number of years. And I've never seen anything quite like a group of people, disparate groups, coming together to file lawsuits, seek commissions, do anything in favor of the people concerning the actual pattern of abuse over a period of decades by the federal government. I mean, it looks good on paper here in the paper today.
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, it gives you the impression that a lot of people understand what's going on and are beginning to wake up, and that's just not true. People are waking up, but nowhere near the numbers we need. But I'll tell you, if we just get some more time and this continues, it will eventually escalate, because each person who wakes up 10 more. And so the more that wake up, exponentially, it grows to the point where eventually, if they give us enough time to effect this awakening, we will preserve our freedoms and our sovereign creator-endowed rights. If not, there's going to be a hell of a civil war in the United States of America. I can guarantee you that, and not because I say so or because I want it, because I don't. The purpose of my doing this broadcast to wake people up is to prevent bloodshed. But I speak to patriots all the time. People take me into their confidence. I've been taken to sites and shown things that tell me that there's going to be blood hip deep in the streets of America if we don't effect this awakening.
Well, I've heard on another one of the programs on shortwave concerning the gathering of the guns, putting it together with the book out and many other people's belief concerning the bankruptcy of America in 1995 by virtue of the fact that we will not be able to pay the interest on the national debt by that time. And so by then, the fact that we'll be bankrupt ought to dovetail really nicely with getting the guns out of most of the hands of good citizens that they're trying to do right now.
Sure. They'll sell their guns to feed their kids. Listen, we got to go, and thank you for calling.
Take care.
Well, folks, that wraps it up for another night of the Hour of the Time. Remember, if you want to order the Luxor video, if you want to get a head start and get some of the first copies, $30 for non-CAGI members, postpaid, $25 for CAGI members, postpaid. Good night, everybody, and God bless you all.